Hey folks, welcome to the Generational Gap. I am Robert, your resident Gen Xer, and right over there next to me is John, our resident Millennial. John,
That's me.
there's a wave for you. How you doing? Say it again.
I didn't say anything.
No, I mean do it again.
Oh, it just went like that.
That's a good wave. I like that.
Yeah.
Your
Very
10
enthusiastic wave.
your 10-year-old wave.
Yes.
I like the
I could do
10-year-old.
my I could do my princess wave. I can't even do it right. You have to like fold your hand like that and go like this. It's fucking weird. I don't know.
You've got it's
Yeah, it's
you
like
have to have it
this.
at a certain angle. There's a 45-degree angle to the
I don't
audience,
fucking know how to
and
do it.
then the full cup to the face.
That's
There.
super gay.
John, when you raise girls, tea parties, princess waves, it's all a thing.
Uh-huh.
You've got to understand them. You've got to do them. It's what it is. But anyway, hey, John, as the title of the show suggests, we got a lot to go over, talk about tonight.
Yes.
Just in case anybody doesn't know, ObfusGate 2019 is upon us. It's pretty much of it's a John. It's a whole bunch of crap. I tell you, man, there's just flying everywhere on this one. I'm just like, damn.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of funny. Kind of funny to watch. Everybody's getting their turn at the trough now. Everybody's stepping up. This is now the gloves are off. It's time to go to town. It's see what's going to happen. You know, the show is going to start. But anyway, before we get into all that, folks, if you like what you're hearing, hit the like button. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. And John, I believe that there are a couple of things in the near future and a couple of nice things to talk about before we go into all of this. Can you make those announcements, please? Because you
I
do
can.
that well.
And just before I make the announcement, I also want to invite everyone to join our Discord server, which is linked down below in the description.
Ooh, there's lots of links
So
down there.
go do that. There's also Twitter and Freedom Scoop, which
Ooh,
we'll get into momentarily.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. So coming up on Halloween, which is I guess the 31st of next month, we have our 3-hour live stream for St. Jude's. So we're gonna be raising money for St. Jude's. We're gonna be doing a whole bunch of spooky stuff, spooky scary stuff. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then Friday, December 6th, we have our 12-hour live stream for Toys for Tots. So we're going to raise some money for some needy kids who may not otherwise get toys this Christmas. So we're going to try and help some kids out. So that'll be cool. But if you're still in the giving spirit, even before then, if you just want to part with some cash, we also are proud to announce Generational Gap merchandise.
Nice.
Right now, we have our T-shirts, but we are working on getting some more stuff like some thermoses and mugs and whatnot. So if you're interested in that, you can just head over to freedomscoop.com. Again, linked in the description.
There's actually a link directly to the shirt, John.
No.
There is.
What?
What if I were to tell you, I even put a coupon code in there that'll get them 15% off the T-shirt.
15%? Are they just giving them away? They must be crazy.
Right down there, there's a code. It's Gen Gap. If
Yes.
you use that coupon code in your cart, you'll get 15% off your purchase.
That's right.
One of our lovely Gen Gap T-shirts.
And they are nice. We've got our own shirts on the way, so you'll be seeing us wear them shortly. As soon as they get here.
Right.
We'll be doing that.
We'll model and everything. I'm building a catwalk as we speak.
Hell yeah. Just make sure you're not too sexy for the catwalk.
I'm too sexy. I'm almost too sexy for this shirt, but I like it, so I'm going to wear it anyway.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know,
you can downgrade yourself a little bit, you know.
You know.
Oh, look at that J. Edgar coming in with his own promo code. You get out of here with that, sir.
That is so J. Edgar. It really
Right.
is. It's just it's that thing. It's good to see you tonight, Jay.
Yep. Thanks for being in the chat.
Captain Ed, as it were. The whole shit show is going crazy this week, John. It got started right at the beginning of the week, and it's just been just unfolding
Oh,
in
yeah.
so many directions. Almost to the exclusion of any. Hey, do you remember? Do you remember that one time
At Bandcamp?
when we were going to send some troops over to Iran or Saudi Arabia and possibly get into the mix with Iran? Do you remember that?
I
like
heard
a week
song
ago?
about that one time. It was like Bomb Iran, something like that.
Nice.
I heard a song about that, yeah.
Do you remember talking, something like that going on a week or so ago? Whatever happened to that? Any idea?
We have more important things to talk about now, apparently.
No. Do you remember there was what was it? It was there was some sort of Democratic campaign presidential thing going on a week ago. Have you heard
no
anything?
idea what you're talking about.
Haven't
Nope.
heard what happened? No idea what happened to that. Oh.
Nope. All I know is that apparently it's finally happening.
What is it,
We're
John?
finally going to get him. We're
What?
gonna get the Orange Man. We're finally going to get him. We're going to get him this time. This time, it's going to happen.
Is this the time, John?
This is the time. Out of all the other times, I know we've said it every other time. This time.
So we can unfurl the mission accomplished banner.
Yeah, fuck it. Might as well, right?
Well, let's what the hell, right? We can just put the banner up on the boat. There we go.
That's right.
Yep,
Anna Woltis in there has the right idea. Orange Man bad. Indeed.
Yeah, so
thanks for joining us, man.
Now we weren't here to talk about this on Monday, and that's my fault. I got stricken with some food poisoning type stuff. Hey, and just before anybody gets on, that's how I spent my birthday. Monday was my birthday, and I spent I can quite honestly say it was the shittiest birthday, pun intended, that I've ever had.
What sucks is we had something planned for. We didn't have anything planned really, but we were gonna have a fun episode for your birthday, and then just nope, you had to go off and get sick instead.
Well,
spend the whole day on the toilet.
My wife is kind enough that she's gonna do a rewind this weekend. So maybe if you want to do that on Monday, you could surprise me with that. Make it a surprise. I'll act surprised. Whatever.
Nobody in the chat tell Robert that his birthday party is actually going to be on Monday. Don't tell him, guys.
So
Anna Voltis wishes you a happy birthday.
And thank you, sir. Thank you very much for that. This is my alien birthday, actually.
Your alien birthday?
I turned 51.
Oh, cool.
You see, there.
What's funny is,
all right.
My dad's birthday was Tuesday, and he turned 53.
And my 51st birthday was basically the weekend, the weekend of the whole alien Area 51 invasion. There was a lot of synchronized things, coincidental things, sycophantic. I don't know, whatever the word is.
No, not sycophantic. Like sycophantic is different.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to avoid that one. But I don't know. I've got people like that in my life too, so it could apply.
I wish I had a sycophant. I want one sycophant, but I'll probably get sick of him really quickly, and then just discard him. But I would like that experience for a little while. Someone's like, "Oh, you're right, John. You're always right." I would love that. Yeah. Just for a little while, though. Just for a little while, I would get sick of it.
You could do that with a dog. A dog will do the same thing. I mean,
true.
Your dog is like your best sycophant because it's the one you don't really want to get rid of.
Right. Also doesn't talk much, so
right. So last weekend, this past Monday, however you want to look at it, everybody started talking.
Synchronicity. There you go, Midget B coming in.
Synchronicity. There it is, Midget. Yeah. Thank you. I got to thank you for pulling that one out of my butt. That felt good. But anyway, so some talk started. Something was going on with a phone call. Something something happened with a phone call to
Oh my gosh! No
some
way!
some
Dish, dish,
some
dish!
some
Come on,
leader in the
tell
Ukraine.
us the gossip.
Oh my God, there was a complaint filed and it didn't come forward, and it was, nobody ever saw it, and oh my God, there's corruption. It's a quid pro quo. Uh, what was there? It is Donald Trump pressuring, using funding to the Ukraine. That was the first thing that came out, was Donald Trump,
Mhm.
held up funding to the Ukraine to try and pressure the Ukraine president to open an investigation on his political rival, Joe Biden. That was how it all started. But then it requires that we go back in the past, back into July, when there's the phone call going on between Trump and Zelensky. Is it Zelensky? Is that how you pronounce it?
Probably. I don't know. It sounds foreign.
It sounds.
Foreign names are hard. Foreign names are hard.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I believe it's pronounced Zelensky, because I keep, the only problem I have with it is I'm like, it can't be that, because it is Zelensky. He's got two Y's in there, so it kind of throws you a little. Is it Zelensky?
Zelensky.
But it always makes me think of Dan Aykroyd and Tommy Boy. Zelensky Auto
Oh,
Parts.
speaking of Dan Aykroyd, little aside, I saw him on Joe Rogan like a week or so ago.
Oh, I meant to watch that, and I haven't watched it. How was it?
He's kind of out there.
He's
He
always
seems like
been
a
out
fun
there.
guy. I didn't know. I've never seen him anywhere except for like Ghostbusters. Like that was. I'm sure I've seen other movies, but that was that's a big one I know him from. And so I know there's been like pop culture references and stuff of him, but I never knew he was like a huge UFO guy or shit like that.
I tell you, sorry, we're on it. We've gone off on a tangent. We will resume scheduled
We have
programming in a moment. If you go back and watch Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Jane Curtin, all those guys back in the original Not Ready for Primetime Player Saturday Night Live episodes, and look at those skits that they were coming up with, that they were writing, because they were writing a lot of their own skits back then. You really start to get an idea of the minds that were going on. I mean, I used to have some really, I would walk away from watching that as a kid, a youth, early, preteen, with some very awkward feelings, like, whoa, there was something warped there, but weird and warped, and I was just starting to pick up on those kind of things, and there's some Dan Aykroyd. I've heard him talk about UFOs before in the past. His idea about extraterrestrial life. If I'm not mistaken, I have to look into this. I almost want to say he narrated a documentary on
Possibly
some alien stuff. But yeah, I want to watch that episode. Was he now? When you say he's out there, unhinged out there, or just he's got some pretty skeptical
He seems
views?
sane, but I don't know. Some of his stories were kind of not believable for the most part.
Like personal anecdote stories, or just things that he believes to be true?
No, his personal anecdote, like his personal experiences with UFOs.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't love those are the ones that I have some trouble with. Not necessarily Dan Aykroyd, but people,
just
UFO individuals who have multiple experiences. It's like, what is it about you that you're seeing all the UFOs, that you're dealing with all the abduction? What is it about you that's so special?
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, I've been abducted 3 times.
I mean, that makes sense. The first time they put the probe in you,
right? I was just going to say,
the second time they check it,
you
third
must
time they're taking it out.
You must give great probe. I mean, it's get that one back. Yeah, get that one back. We don't need a condom with that one.
He gives great cloaca or whatever, I don't know, whatever genitals they might have.
Don't say cloaca. There's just wrongness in that somehow.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. Let's get back to the shit show. ObfusGate.
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 I like the name, actually. I think it's a good
That is a
name.
good name.
I think it'll work. We should coin that and get it out there. But anyway, now, apparently, at the time of the phone call between Trump and Zelensky, supposedly during the conversation with him, he was according to a whistleblower complaint that was made by. It's been reported as a CIA agent who was assigned to the White House for whatever reason, which, let's touch on the point that I think it's the New York Times is facing some really heavy scrutiny for unwrapping that little piece of data on a whistleblower. I mean, hello, that's not, very bad form. Bad call. You don't do that, right? I mean, there's laws in place for that for a reason.
Yeah, unfortunately, we haven't cared much about that recently. But I mean, I do agree with that. If someone's going to come forward with information about corruption
Well,
in the
that's
government, they should be protected.
well
I mean,
when the
yeah.
complaint, just as a small aside, when the complaint was filed with, when the Inspector General of Intelligence went through the complaint, um, you know, he made it clear that the individual wanted to remain anonymous and that kind of thing. He had met him personally, but that individual asked to remain anonymous, and it was sent forward by the Inspector General under the expectation that it was going to fall under the whistleblower protections, the laws concerning that, and so bad form exposing any facts you might find out about this whistleblower. That's the kind of thing that's bad journalism in my opinion. That puts somebody at risk. But anyway,
they don't give a fuck about putting people at risk.
Well, I know, and that's a problem, right?
Isn't
that a problem? Right?
Absolutely.
So now the phone call is supposed to have been Trump pressuring the leader of the Ukraine, the president of the Ukraine, into opening an investigation or pursuing an investigation against Joe Biden, whose son works for Burisma, is on the board of Burisma over in Ukraine, which is a natural gas company, big major natural gas company, the biggest one in the Ukraine, and apparently he makes $50,000 a month. And then there's allegations of corruption within the corporation and favor mongering that feeds back to Joe Biden when he was in office acting as vice president. So there was, the Joe Biden put pressure on Ukraine, threatening to withhold $1 billion in aid if that prosecutor wasn't fired. He did it on the premise that he was helping to weed out corruption in the Ukraine government, and lauded the fact that he held the $1 billion for ransom to get that done. Which is the accusation against Trump, is that the Ukraine aid that was held up a few days before the phone call was with the president of Ukraine. That money was stalled and held up. There have been some not so believable because it said it was held up with lots of other aid to other countries, but at the same time, all those other country aids were then cleared, and that one was still held up for some reason. But of course, details that come out on these things are hit and miss, only from the standpoint that lots of people are reporting it, and you can't be necessarily true without specific documentation that shows one way or the other that this was a thing. When it comes to that documentation, we don't have we don't have a recorded phone call, right? We don't have a verbatim transcript of the phone call,
Right.
Which Donald Trump offered up. Here's a transcript. Now, when the transcript that he offered up was created, that's hit or miss. I mean, there's a date of September 24th on it, but is that the printout date, or is that the date that this document was created? They put their minds together and they're like, what do we remember about the phone call? There were original transcripts, though, that were put on a national security server, which is not the same, computer servers, whatever. That's not the same computer that the phone calls are normally put on, because there's another one that the transcripts are put on, and then those are processed out and then passed on to the the expected people within Washington who would look at it and, look at the different things that were discussed, et cetera, world politics, blah, blah, blah. This one was not and according to the whistleblower complaint, others have not as well, but it appears, based off what the complaint says, that not all of his foreign conversations are being placed on this full this national security server. I will say, and I believe you looked at the complaint, not the complaint, but the transcription of the phone call. Did any of that seem like major national security concern that needed to be buried deeper in the national security vault than these foreign conversations normally would be?
No, not at all. I mean, I don't think that there was nothing obviously of, national security concerns was discussed, but we don't know why they put it on that
Right.
particular server, right? Because we're not Washington insiders. We have no idea why.
Well, there was one reason given. One of the reasons given that I have heard was some of his administration said that it was put on there for concerns of basically, and I'm paraphrasing the way they put it, but basically that didn't want the other side to see it because and try and misinterpret the conversations that are going on with world leaders. And he wasn't talking specifically to that, but he was talking about because they've done this with other conversations he's had with world leaders. So so that's fine. And if you're doing that, that's fine. But then my expectation is now that all your conversations with world leaders, those transcripts are all being placed into that national security level computer/server. If you're picking and choosing conversations, then I would be curious, as anybody would, just general curious, what makes those so important? Because when I look at these transcripts you're showing me, I don't see something of so much importance there that is a national security concern.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's. I don't know. There must be other reasons. I don't know about hiding it from your political enemies. That doesn't sound like a good reason.
No, I'm just saying it was thrown. That was one that was thrown out there. Like I said, seeing a lot of different stuff, reporting this, that, and the other. So, the source that it came from and the source that put it out there, I'm not going to give any credibility to it. I'm just saying this is a voice that's been heard.
Right. No, I'm just saying I don't buy the reasoning. That's all. I'm not saying that it's not the reason. I'm just saying it's not a good reason.
Right.
Even if it is one of the reasons.
Now, another issue in this is the whistleblower complaint. The Inspector General for Intelligence passed this forward to the acting head of national intelligence, and he sent it forward as an urgent response, like this was important, right? This is something that needs to be addressed. So he sends it over to him, and so NI puts it before the Department of Justice and apparently the White House, because he claims, and what's his name eludes me because he's kind of not necessarily a new player, but so it was Burr, who is the Inspector General. Burr passes it along over to McNugget over at NI, which is he's the Joseph McGuire, the Honorable Joseph McGuire. So he sounds like a judge to me. That was what was throwing me. I'm like, okay, so he's a judge, but he's Director of National Intelligence acting. So he says, and he apparently, I guess yesterday, he testified to this, that the White House and the Department of Justice had basically told him that it wasn't necessary, there was no reason to put this forward. Now, the Department of Justice apparently said that there was no need to put this forward because the way it came from the Inspector General, it was looking at, pursuant to 50 U.S.C., the law, any laws that are covering finance campaign issues, right? Or campaign finance issues, which now there is and so DOJ says, no, this isn't of urgent concern because, no, it doesn't break any campaign finance laws. Looking at what the whistleblower said, right? So I'm like, okay, I can understand that. But this doesn't seem to be talking about campaign finances. We're talking about money from the United States, an aid package of upwards to $400 billion or $1 million, excuse me, going to Ukraine, and Trump asking for an investigation. I'm not saying he's doing it, the two was quid pro quo. I'm just saying the events that happened. He's asking them to, recommending that they look into this corruption with Biden and Biden's son, which of course may look like he's trying to get somebody to look into his political candidate. We've got to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Or his political opponent. So with that, does that sound like campaign finance law? Does that umbrella over this? Because Trump's not receiving money on this.
And he's not giving money.
Right. He's allegedly held up money till he got compliance from Zelensky in Ukraine.
And I would think that what would save him from that is that it was money already allocated to go there, and and it's not his own money. It's not his money from his his campaign. It's not money from his own wallet.
Sure.
Right. So I think that might be what's saving him from that. Just to say, hey, we're going to apply a little bit of pressure by not giving you the money that we were already going to give you, but also in the meantime, like using the verbiage of like, oh, on an unrelated note, how about you help us out with this, and we'll see about getting that money to you a little faster.
And that's that's ultimately what the accusation is. Which, if we're talking about, if he's looking, for comprot or compromising information.
And Anna Waltz, he says the fact that it's not his own money makes it worse. I agree. Like morally, I agree with that. We're just talking like legally. I think that actually saves him. So I don't agree with it. I'm not saying that
right.
that it's okay. I'm just saying that legally, I think that saves him.
Now I understand. I could see how this doesn't impact campaign finance law. I could see how the complaint doesn't. So, but aside from that, this is actively corrupt in another way. If or I won't say corrupt in another way. Opens the question to corruption outside of that too, to where it should be passed on, but it wasn't relevant to what they were, because I believe this this happened. I mean, we're talking July, a little after, in July. I mean, nothing else was, why would they have not seen it as a concern outside of campaign finance regulation? Yeah. So anyway, so he says, okay, I didn't do anything with it because the White House and the DOJ said, it wasn't an urgent concern. It wasn't something that needed to be forward. Now, I will say that gives me pause a little bit because, we know who's in the DOJ. We've got Barr over there, and that's a Trump pick right there. That's one of his boys. Yeah. That's someone who's loyal to Trump. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, okay, there are things that can make this look sketchy. Just the conversation alone can open up the door to, okay, that could seem sketchy if you want to look at it that way. If you're looking for trouble,
yeah,
you can
interpret anything any way you want. Yeah, and let's address what Midget B is saying there in the chat real quick. He's got a little bit to say. He says, I need to reread the not transcript, but if I recall, Trump asked him to look into CrowdStrike, and the Ukrainian guy brought up Biden. Okay, yeah, I believe that's true. And he says, at which point Trump referred him to Giuliani. So all this is based on chopped and screwed bullshit. By the
Right.
way, Trump is on what his third pick for Attorney General. General, yeah, I
Right.
believe so. I believe it's the third.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's still looking for
he's
the most loyal one.
he's got a bit of a revolving door. Yeah,
Yeah.
in his.
So one thing that I want, one thing that I think is important here is, one of the first things that happened from this was, you immediately have people on both sides of this. Well, what about Biden? What about what Biden said? What about what Biden did with the prosecutor? Now, I will say this. When it comes to the money that Biden said, okay, you need to fire this corrupt prosecutor, or we're going to hold this money that's supposed to be coming to you. I don't. I guess I've gotten used to the idea that we're going to use financial pressure to get political regime change in other countries. Like, if this guy is bad for your political regime, you need to get rid of him, or we're going to withhold money. It's not much different than throwing sanctions on a country to get them to comply. Right?
Yeah,
So, but
yeah, I suppose.
but the difference with Trump was, the allegation, the difference is, here's money that's supposed to be coming to you, but before I let that money go, there's just a few things. How are you feeling about this investigation into Joe Biden? That's what the allegation is. And I can see that it's two different types of corruption in a sense, but one, what Biden did is kind of acceptable in our diplomatic gameplay in this world today. Now, his motivation for doing it, was he really trying to get rid of somebody corrupt in the Ukraine political regime? The facts and figures are starting to point towards no, that this was more personally motivated. And maybe he did have a conflict of interest. And if that's the case, then that needs to be exposed and that needs to be pointed out. And we need to look into that. And that goes to the fact that I say that we should have opened a formal investigation into Joe Biden and then sought the assistance of Ukraine through official channels,
Yeah,
not on a
I mean,
personal phone call.
right, and I don't think that that's the best way of going about it. Is to do it, personally, like you were saying. I think he can just. Trump was trying to get it done faster, or trying to get that evidence and then go to, go through the official channel saying, "Hey, I've got this information. Let's start the investigation based on that."
Sure. And
As opposed to trying to get that afterwards. It'd be a lot easier to start an investigation if you already have something.
yeah, and he did, and I understand, Mitch. He said, "Look into the CrowdStrike thing," but yes, and Ukraine, the president there brought up, the ambassadors, the prosecutor, Joe Biden. He touched on all of that, but Trump did suggest that he look into this, and you can, I'll put you in contact with Giuliani and Barr, and see what you guys, what help you need. Now,
Yeah.
I have one of the biggest issues I have in all of this is fucking Rudy Giuliani. This is national security level shit in a sense when you're talking about investigating a politician like Joe Biden. This begins to walk into national security level, I would think, especially when you're coordinating with another country for an investigation. Does Giuliani even have that kind of clearance? I need him out of this picture. He doesn't. I don't see why he's a relevant player.
Does that not seem reasonable? Says Midget B. I mean, what part in particular?
Well, the thing is he's trying. What he wants. The main thing he wanted Ukraine to also look into was, they believe a lot of the 2016 election bullshit originated in the Ukraine. Like, that's where CrowdStrike was involved with some of this bullshit. So he wants the new president to look into that, and that's what was brought up. And I agree that yeah, I get it. I read the transcript. I saw how it was presented. Do I have 100% faith in that, in the transcript that was given? Not, no, I don't have 100% faith in any of the documentation that's being put forward.
Sure, I can see
Um,
that.
deep fake anything you want. I think text is a hell of a lot easier, right?
Well, yeah, they just put down what they want and say that, oh yeah, this is the transcript. But I
Yeah,
mean, there's
and
got to be some way of accountability. There's got to be some kind of accountability. I'm not sure how you would go about that,
when
because
it
you should trust somebody at some point, right? And
right,
that's yeah.
but things in the things that the whistleblower are saying were things like administration lawyer, there were lawyers saying it's a good idea that we bury this conversation. Now, according to
Mhm.
what the whistleblower says, the way it was being communicated to him, because everything he got was secondhand or third hand,
Yeah, which
but it
is absolutely
was
ridiculous.
right. They had concerns about this, that, and the other thing. About how it was going to be seen that this may have been an overreach, that this may have pushed the envelope, and that's fine. And this is my thoughts on the whistleblower are like, okay, here's a guy, whoever he is. Even the inspector general said that he may have some political bias. But when it's all said and done, the only thing that you need to do to have political bias in this day and age is be in the other, vote for the other party,
Hmm.
right? But he's brought forth information that he gathered from talking to people, right? And if he is CIA, then that's kind of how they operate, right? So okay, here's an allegation, here's a complaint. Now it's okay. The next step is we need witnesses. We need people to come forward and speak. That's the next logical step in this, right? Because now documentation's not going to matter anymore. We've seen
Yeah.
that. Now it's about, okay, are there credible witnesses that will testify that these are things that were being talked about? This is what was going on. That to prove the transcript's not real. That's what you would have to do. That there's things not put in the transcript.
Yeah, but then it's still just hearsay. I mean, it's just
Right.
anyone and their mother could come up and say, "Oh yeah, that's not
Sure.
actually true."
You know who piped up today?
Who's that?
Cohen is piping up. Well, today, he's piping up from jail saying, "Hey, I've got information on Trump and Ukraine. You need
Oh,
to
I'm
let
sure he
me
does.
testify." He wants to testify
Of course he does. He
about
wants to get the
this,
fuck out.
right? Well,
Oh my
now
god!
if
Don't
if
bring that motherfucker in. Oh
now
my god.
hold on. Now, if he comes forward, if he's willing to come forward and give testimony, relevant testimony about this, with
Hmm.
no deal, no cut on time, no anything, I'll listen.
Really? So remind me what he went to jail for in the first place.
Well, for lying, but
To Congress
to come for,
under oath.
hey, you know what? The one thing that he's going to have to remember, they got Epstein in jail.
Yeah, they did.
So if he comes forward and testifies, he's putting a bullseye on his back. I'm just saying.
I don't know because no one's gonna listen to him. I mean, he's lost any credibility he might have had before.
Well, yeah. Well, that's assuming that there was credibility there anyway.
Right.
But you've got, you know, Giuliani to me is Trump's biggest worst nightmare right now. I mean, the debacles he's had this week on the different interviews he's been doing, he seems like on the edge of losing his shit constantly. One minute he's like, "Yeah, we did. No, we didn't do this." Well, yeah, we did do that, but we were, and it's like, I think Giuliani is a liability. I don't think he doesn't. He's not in a position to be handling world diplomacy and shit
Yeah.
like this. They asked him. Laura Ingraham asked him on an interview. She said, "Why you?" And he's like, "Because I'm Trump's defense attorney, and going over there and dealing with the Ukraine is defending him." And I'm like, "What?"
So no, if there's an investigation or something into, especially if Trump does end up getting impeached, he's gonna have
No,
that information to come forward
no.
with
He
whatever.
said him going over there and looking into the Joe Biden corruption. is defending Trump
Right.
as part of his defense attorney job. I'm like, no, that's
No,
looking
not
at.
that in itself. That's what I'm talking about. With if he does
Oh,
get impeached, he's got that extra information and being able to, come forward with like, look, I was trying to find corruption, in that would be part of his defense. Is my point. Is that if he does get impeached,
well,
um,
a lot of people have brought his security clearance into question on this. Does he have
I
the
mean, does
clearance
he
to
have
be
it or does he not? I don't know.
right? Does he?
That'd be
Again,
pretty easy to find out.
you know,
If you like, not for us maybe, but anyone involved.
I mean, when it's all said and done, is he Donald Trump's defense attorney, or is he the president's defense attorney? There's two very specific
Mm-hmm.
distinctions there. Those. If he's Donald Trump's defense attorney, you need to stay out of fucking the government world diplomacy, politics, bullshit. You need to sit the fuck down. Worry about defending Trump whenever it's time. But if you're the president's lawyer, I still don't see any. You're not going in an official capacity. That's the thing.
Right.
He's not being. He even said that the State Department told him to go pursue this. But the State Department has been sketchy on it, basically saying, no, we didn't tell him anything like, I don't know. That one's still unclear. Everything surrounding Giuliani is unclear right now. And that's a problem to me. And I would think for a 4D player like Trump, that would be a problem for him too. Well, I understand, Midget, that Giuliani is New York's most popular recent mayor. But even John and I have both agreed he's not the same Rudy he used to be. He's not that guy anymore.
It's like two different eras of Rudy Giuliani.
I
There's
mean,
the 9/11 Rudy Giuliani that everyone loved and revered, and then now there's recent Rudy Giuliani, which is very questionable.
he's got orangitis. He really.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. He's got orangitis. He's getting this idea that he can pretty much say and do anything. Like he's starting to feel that bulletproofness that Trump seems to think he has, right? And maybe he does. I'm not saying he does. Trump's not bulletproof. If he's covered his bases well enough, or if there was nothing to cover, either one, yeah, maybe he is bulletproof. But Giuliani, I mean, dude, I don't know. Sometimes I think he's one step away from dementia with the way he talks. I mean,
No, I don't think he's. No, I don't think he's got any kind of problems like that.
no, did you? There was another interview he did, and he was on there, and he was talking, and he was saying that this was one of the times he was saying the State Department directed him to look into Biden over in the Ukraine, along with the 2016 election stuff. And he had finished his interview, and they had a couple of other guys on there, and one of them was saying something about Giuliani, and he's like, it's just not true that the State Department directed him to do that. Well, it was enough to pull Giuliani back onto camera, and come from the green room and come back out there and respond. And his response was Trump level, like, you're a fucking idiot. You're a liar. You don't know what you're talking about. This, and I'm like, wow. He was very borderline unhinged in the way he was responding. He still manages to keep that weird Rudy Giuliani half grin on his face when he's doing a lot of it. And it's just like, oh, God. I have Joker flashbacks with him sometimes now when I watch him doing interviews. I'm just like, is there a psycho in there waiting to get out? What's going on? Is he going to crack at some point?
Yeah, if he was the mayor of New York, he's absolutely a psychopath. I mean,
right?
You kind of have to be in order to get, or I guess a sociopath. There's a slight difference, I think.
So, as it stands now, we've got what they're presenting for the phone transcripts, and I have this unanswered question: are these the transcripts that you buried on the National Security Server? Are these the same transcripts, or were these just regenerated after the fact when it was necessary, when you felt it was necessary to go ahead and release those? At the same time that he says he's going to release them, that same day, Nancy Pelosi comes out and says it's time, and they drop the impeachment bomb. They want to start a formal inquiry into impeachment. So that ball is now rolling. So much so that they've subpoenaed today, they're subpoenaed Mike Pence, I believe, or Pompeo. Mike Pompeo for documentation, any documents related to the Ukraine probe, and they want to look into. They want to look into the officials, different officials. They want to talk about Ukraine. Marie Yovanovitch, she was a former ambassador to the Ukraine, special envoy to Ukraine, Kurt Volker, Deputy Assistant Secretary George Kent, Counselor of the State Department Ulrich Brechtbol, and U.S. Ambassador to the EU Gordon Sondland. So they want to. Or they have scheduled depositions for those officials over the next 2 weeks, and they want any documentation from him pertaining to Ukraine that, of course, will have any information that they might, gather on those people beforehand as well. So, as Secretary of State, he's going to have some work cut out for him. So now it'll be time to find out what he knows as well. Through his documentation. I don't know. Here's the question for you, John. Was it inevitable? Mm-hmm. Was the impeachment inquiry, the beginning of all this, inevitable?
No, I don't think it was inevitable. Again, I think they're just grasping at straws. I think they were just kind of looking for any reason. So, I mean, maybe it was, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think that it's necessary. I don't think that it's something that needs to be done. But obviously, the Democrats have been trying to get him on something so they can impeach. Even before he, won the election, they were saying if he gets in, we're going to impeach him. So,
right.
I guess, yeah. I guess I can go with inevitable. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so there was, it was, I saw a funny...
Yeah, Midget B just said the same thing I did.
Yeah. I saw a funny cartoon, a political, satirical cartoon from a random newspaper, and it showed a camel, and on his back he had all these little bundles of hay on there for, it was talking about hush money and this, that, and the other, the different little scandals that have already been thrown forward. And then floating down through the air, of course, is Ukraine, one final straw on the camel's back. I was like, oh, that's funny. Yeah, so that's kind of what it is. It was just they just needed something to pull the pin. Now, I will say that, for some, political sources, blah, 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 talkers in Washington, some are saying that Nancy Pelosi, they feel like she actually sees something credible in this for her to flip her stance, because she was very adamant about not pursuing impeachment all this time, and now she's suddenly changed her mind and she immediately moved forward on this. I don't know.
So I think it's more about the pressure that she's been getting from her own side to go along with it, and that along with the timing, with we have another election coming up, and obviously the proceedings are going to take quite a while, and so if they can have it nearing its end towards voting time, that could potentially hurt Trump quite a bit. So they get their person in.
So, we got phone transcripts. We've got a whistleblower complaint. A lot of people are writing this off as, some will take the stance that this is just business as usual in politics. Even if it was a quid pro quo, if Joe Biden can do it, Trump can do it. There are a lot of people who are, Trump's just guilty. This is just something else he's guilty of. I don't need any evidence.
Yeah.
And others who are no, Trump's innocent. This is what I love about the extreme right is like you can't get past our fingers that point to somebody else on the left doing the same thing. That's no.
I think no, I think that's
Joe did
stupid
this
because
first.
if it right. No, that I mean that's a schoolyard argument, right?
Right.
It was like, oh, you hit him. Well, he hit me first. Okay, well, is it okay? Does that make it okay? Right? You should both be,
Right. Biden was
punished for whatever
corrupt
reason.
before Trump was.
Yeah. I mean, it's true, but yeah, no, I mean, no, if they both did the same thing and it's punishable by law, then both should be punished by law. But they didn't do the same thing.
Right. And it's the way that Trump fought against the collusion allegations, which they were never necessarily collusion, more conspiracy allegations. But that was the word he kept using. For him to be so vehemently denying that kind of collusion, and then to, and I said this to you off mic, kind of fuck up and put his foot in his mouth along the path of this, like leaving himself open to look like he's doing something shady, right? I mean,
He does do that often.
He's already put it. Here's a quote from him. If a foreign power had dirt on my political opponent, I would take it. Wow, there's a foot in your mouth right now when you're talking about Ukraine. This idea, the speculation that he was willing to take dirt on Hillary Clinton from the meeting in Trump Tower. Him standing in a rally and saying, "Hey, Russia, if you've got Hillary, those 300 deleted emails or 30,000 deleted emails of Hillary's, send those my way." He says these things. Mm-hmm. He says stupid things that when you do this stuff and people, I'm not even going to sit here and say that there are not some people, obviously, that were voicing concern about what he was doing, much like they voice concern about a lot of shit he does, I'm sure.
Yeah.
When it comes to this Ukraine thing, to that phone call, how it might be perceived. I'm not going to, for a minute, say that people weren't voicing concern about that enough to, justify putting together a whistleblower complaint. I don't know. But I bet some talk like that was going on. Because the man opens the fucking door, John. He opens it. Would you agree?
Yeah. No, I definitely agree that he pretty much lives with his foot in his mouth. But his recovery ability is pretty damn good.
His what?
His ability to recover from doing that is pretty damn good.
He is like rubber, and they're glue.
And you are like glue. Yeah.
Right.
Right. As the old adage goes, a wise man once said, "I am rubber, and you are glue."
And Mitch says in a lot of ways the left hasn't done the same, but worse. I
don't think that either side is without guilt.
Right. I mean, if we want to, let's flash back to the Clinton years, and let's see if the right didn't like chase fucking squirrels through his entire presidency, trying to find
he
something.
Actually did something though.
Well, he did not have sexual relations with that woman. I'm just saying, John.
No, he did.
He did not have recollection of a lot of shit at that time. You can't blame the guy.
Fair.
Hey, but you know what? He sat for impeachment and walked away from it, and he did not resign, much like somebody else did further back in our past when faced with a similar situation.
That Bill Clinton was charismatic enough to have, to where no one cared, really.
Right. So what's Trump got to lose? I mean, this motherfucker bounces back like a bowling ball on concrete, and that's damn near impossible, John. I'm just saying, if most specifically, if he hasn't done anything wrong, just as well as I do that the light shines true on the truth,
Right. Well, there is
especially
also
if it occurs in a place like Washington.
right. There's also a theory that he's trying to get himself impeached so that he can come forward with all this and find all the, not himself obviously find all the corruption, but have all the corruption and stuff come to light. Have the attacks on him, have or his opponents at least look like idiots, attacking him for nothing, and just come out of the impeachment, smelling like roses.
Now,
So I don't know if I subscribe to that belief, but I can see the argument for it.
Now, the real question is, does the impeachment inquiry and does the impeachment itself stay true on course for this specific incident? Or, and I've seen some speculation that it would turn into an impeachment of him as a president based off multiple actions throughout his term in White House.
Oh yeah, no, it's not going to be that. It's not going to be just this. They'll start with this, but it's going to turn into he's racist and he's sexist and he's homophobic and he's transphobic and Islamophobic and all the other phobias and is that you can have.
When the rubber meets the road, they have to lay specific impeachment charges down. Am I correct?
Right. That's why
it's got to be specific about something. Now
right.
they could say that this is an impeachment for lack of faith in the office of the president. They could do that, I would assume. A no faith, a vote of no faith, an impeachment of no faith.
Confidence, yeah,
no confidence. That's the one. An impeachment of no confidence. I would assume that they could go that direction, but they need to decide.
I don't know how that works. So
they've got to decide how they're going to do it because they could unpack an entire can of worms if they go the wrong way on this. That will tie this thing up for fucking ever. Or they will shoot themselves in the foot if they don't stick to the one thing that they're actually looking for.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be an interesting time. I think I said this months ago. I hope they do impeach him.
Are you ready to get it out of the way?
Yeah.
Are you ready to be done with it?
Fucking end it, man.
Right.
Like, I'm so sick of this. Like he's like the most evil person to have ever existed, and we need to get rid of him. And then it's all gonna come out. All their fucking dirty laundry is gonna get thrown out in the wind. Whatever.
Well, I'm ultimately of a mind, and I'll say it again. If it's corruption on the left, or it's corruption on the right, or anywhere in between, if the corruption is exposed, we need to determine if the corruption happened. So, yes, Joe Biden, that needs to be looked into. We need to investigate it. Donald Trump, there are things that are questionable. Now, if there have been some sometimes hedgy answers given as to why some things happen and blah blah blah. I don't know. Do I trust it? Do I need the questions answered in a formal capacity? I don't know who to trust anymore, John. I don't know where to get the answers, or if we should just go into what's next mode. Be like, okay, let this go out of the news cycle.
I'll tell you who you can trust. All right. On Sunday, we're going to go down to our local church.
I'm going to shoot you in the face with a bazooka, John. Just
you don't have a bazooka.
Well, fortunately, that's where you get like...
Oh, that's true. J. Edgar's coming in with a good point. There is no corruption on the left. Don't you read the New York Times? 8 years scandal-free. That's true. 8 years, no scandals whatsoever.
That's correct. 8 years. No scandals reported. See, there's
reported, correct.
There's the correct way to say that truthfully.
Yep.
No scandals were reported. The impeachment is going to be rough on this country. This This is going to be the ultimate push on the great divide that's been created. I don't know. I don't know how we come out of this. Do you give a shit one way or the other if he's impeached, as long as it's over finally?
Yeah, like I said, I want him to be impeached just so that, first of all, it's over with. Assuming that it'll be the only time that he's impeached, if he's not impeached twice.
Well, now, hold on. That's what let me qualify my question. By being impeached, I mean like they actually succeed in impeaching the president. So, do you one way or the other if he's actually impeached and put out of office or stays in office? Do you give a shit one way or the other?
I mean, if he's obviously innocent of whatever they're trying to get him on, then yeah, I don't want him to be removed from office. But if he did something worthy of being removed from office, then he should be removed from office. I mean, that's pretty simple, I think.
Yeah, I want him out of office. I'm willing to wait till the election and hope that somebody worthwhile can stand up. Tulsi Gabbard's out there. She's hollering, "Don't impeach him."
Oh yeah, she made the October debate.
Did she?
So she's going to be there in Ohio. Yeah.
She's saying don't impeach.
And the thing is, it was cute as fuck. Andrew Yang congratulated her on Twitter for making it.
He's a nice guy that way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was cute. It was wholesome.
Why do you use words like cute, John? Jesus Christ.
It's funny.
But when it's
a 2-night event, Jay Edgar says it's a 2-night event. Get fucked. Why? I don't have time for that shit.
Where did he say that?
The most recent chat. His most recent thing. Right under it was scandal-free. HuffPo is completely objective and 100% fair and accurate. They're sitting Tulsi at the kids' table. Yeah. Well, that's what you can expect from a candidate who's polling at 1%. Oh, Kamala Harris dunking on Tulsi.
So I don't understand. My chat's not going. The last thing I see is Jay Edgar saying there's no corruption on the left. Don't you read the New York Times? And then Midget's emoji response. And I haven't seen any chat since then.
Yeah, Jay Edgar has 2 in a row, and then now Midget B has 2 more in a row. They're sitting Tulsi at the kids' table, says Midget B. They won't make Warren face Gabbard. Yeah, that would be terrible for Warren and awesome for everyone else, to be fair.
Let's see what happens if I reload. That's weird. My
I would say just refresh.
As long as the stream's still going, I'm happy. That's the important thing. So
did you check that? Because I didn't check it. Yeah, it looks like it's still going.
Oh, good.
Oh, we got a new subscribe.
There it goes. See, now it's all in there. I don't know. I had it on live chat. Wait, do I need top chat? See it on?
Midget got it for me. No, you want to go to live chat. That's where you get all the juicy stuff. That's where I was.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. All right, so good. Now I know that. Now I'm in the game again. I want to guess which game is going to be on the same Sunday of the random selection process.
Yang is obviously going to be there as well because he sit at the kiddie table. Let's see. I don't know. Is Delaney's not Delaney? Who else is still around? What's her name? What's her cunt? Klobuchar. Is going to be along there with them, I think. You're basically going to see Kamala, Warren, Biden, and Bernie all together.
Wait.
And then everyone else is going to be at the kids' table.
So it's a 2-night event. How many candidates per night?
I don't know. How many are left? Who was even left?
Well, there were 10. There were 10 in the last debate, right?
I believe so.
And that was a one-night thing with 10 people. So I wouldn't understand why they would have more than 10. And so then my only guess is they're splitting it into 2 5-person nights because having 10 people is just not giving people enough face time.
It's September. We're looking for
6 per night is what Midget says.
6 per night. Okay, I believe him.
Now, really? You believe him?
Yeah.
He wouldn't lie about that. He may have been reading a dosage off the back of a pill bottle. I mean,
you never take 6 per night of
he could just be throwing a number out there. He's the king of fake news.
What?
It is. I'm telling you. You know that Midget guy. He is. He's right wing. He's right
Oh
wing.
shit. Oh,
SJW.
dude, is he a far right conspiracy theorist?
He's a right wing SJW. He's RWSJW.
Or WSJW? That doesn't roll off the tongue like SJW does.
Well, yeah, but you can't just say SJW because then people think the poor guy's on the left.
That's true. We don't.
You
want
wouldn't want to give him.
that.
You wouldn't say anything disparaging about
I
him.
know. I wouldn't do that to him. No. I wouldn't even joke about that.
Now he says he rides the middle, but I think that's just for the porn videos.
Right.
But
He likes to be
anyway,
the sandwich.
right?
He likes to be the meat in the sandwich.
So now I'm gonna. I don't know, John. I can't. What do you think? Like, if based off of what you know at this point, what's been given to you, do you believe what Trump did and said in that phone call, how he approached it, and based off what the whistleblower complaint says, understanding third party conversations with people, this, that, and the other,
Right.
passing forward knowledge from other people, we can weigh in the legitimacy of that as much as needed. What do you think the right and wrong in this is?
HGP. What do I think the right and the wrong? I don't think there's anything here. I think it's completely nothing.
Okay.
Like, I don't think there's a right or a wrong. I think it just is, and that's it. Like, I don't think he did anything wrong in this case, and I don't think that someone was wrong in trying to bring something forward that they had heard about. Although, you should probably try and find out more, have some actual evidence for it. But I mean, I have no problem with someone trying to say this person is corrupt for X and Y reasons. I mean, at least they came forward,
So this is ultimately just going to be a finger pointer, right? So let me ask you this.
And J. Edgar, it only makes the president look terrible from a certain point of view. If you twist things and interpret it a certain way, if you just look at it, it's won't pass reasonable doubt. Exactly, yeah.
So let me ask you this, and this is and this is coming from me. Of course, I'm old, old person, Gen X, Cold War era kind of guy. Not a big fan of those damn commies, as it
Sneaky
were.
fucking Russians.
Right? I don't like our president if he is getting in bed with foreign powers to try and fuck with a political opponent. If that, I mean, why else target Biden right now, right? We've known about this for a long time.
Yeah, I think Biden is going to be the anointed one. That's what it seems like for the most part. I mean, they've ripped him a little bit in the media, but not. He's gotten mostly positive attention. He's the only one really getting a ton of attention. You don't really see much on Warren. Maybe Bernie a little bit, but for the most part, it's Biden that's front and center.
I mean, if it were me, if I'm looking and I'm going to say, okay, I've got to run for a second term as president, on day one, right? He knew that Joe Biden was going to be a political candidate, opponent, sometime in the next 4 years. Mm-hmm. He had to know it. Everybody knew that Biden was going to be tapped.
Yeah.
Why, if this was known about, why didn't he start out much sooner having this investigated and looked into?
Timing.
Right. He played his timing. And that's why, I say if you just read that phone transcript in that Joe Corleone mindset, and you look at it, and you hear him say things like, You should look into this. I'm not saying that for nothing anything happened, but maybe you should look into this corruption that's going on in your neck of the woods. You know, you can talk to my man Rudy. I've got my boy Baugh. They'll call you, and they will help you get to the bottom of this corruption. And just so you know, I predict your country is going to be very wealthy. You're gonna fucking do well. I see this in your future, right? Yeah. You can. I mean, it's not like Trump hasn't been talked about as a crime boss before.
That's true, J. Edgar. Oh man, yeah, I mean you have that accent kind of naturally, J. Edgar. I mean a little bit. He's got more of a Massachusetts.
Thug.
No, he's got more like a.
Yeah, he's got that Boston. He's got the
Boston accent than he does. Yeah,
he doesn't got that fucking mook from New Jersey accent. Maybe get a little Christopher Walken in there. Maybe that would help. But anyway, no, if you think about it from that mindset, yeah, that phone call could be looked at. It's, but is Donald Trump's not like that, right? I mean, he's not a New York crime boss.
No, he's a real estate mogul, so it's basically the same thing.
Is it? I mean, I don't know.
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, sometimes you got to kind of twist someone's arm once in a while. Maybe put their head in the pizza oven. And slam the door closed. So. Sometimes you gotta. It's unfortunate, but sometimes things happen.
I can sit here and I can let my conspiracy theory mind run and say, okay, so Trump has surrounded himself by people that are put into the positions that they're put in based off loyalty first. How loyal do I think these people are going to be? Because he's always said that that's the most important quality in the people around him is their loyalty.
Yeah.
And loyalty is a very, very broad term when it comes to the actions you take. How loyal are they? What will they overlook? What will they keep their mouth shut about? That's, you can't help but think about that when you think about loyalty, especially when you're talking about a kingpin from New York. I mean, a business leader from New York, nice for saying. It's called incentive. I like it.
Yeah, I mean that is fair. It was more incentive. There wasn't really a threat there, and there wasn't like they've been saying over the past week. There was no quid pro quo or anything like that.
Well,
it's kind of like, hey, look into this. We'll see what we can do.
Timing. You just held up funds that were supposed to be going to the Ukraine, right?
Oh, dude, Ed, you got to do it. He wants to hang the flag of the Brotherhood of Steel behind him. Fucking do it, dude.
The Brotherhood of Steel. Is that it's a Iron
Fallout.
Union? Oh.
It's a Fallout thing, yeah.
I thought it might be an Iron Workers Union or something.
Nope, it's a video game thing. You wouldn't understand, Grandpa.
Oh, yeah, because I've never played video games.
Look how defensive you got, immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, man. No, I know.
Bitch, I was busting Centipede apart when you were still a twinkle in your daddy's Cheerio bowl. What activist journalist will this person leak to in an attempt to derail my presidency? I don't like that.
Yeah.
But it's it's at that right there. What midget, that little comment that it feeds back specifically to what is real anymore. What is really happening anymore? What is going on behind the scenes in Washington? What's happening in the corridors and the staff rooms and the meeting rooms and the lunch rooms and the water coolers. What conversations are going on there? What is known about what goes on in the White House? What is going on in this presidency? You know, I see so many things as like, you know, administrative this, and, you know, the White House said this, and administrative action, and this. And I'm like, so, you know, how far does that boil down to, you know, Trump action and, you know, administration, you know, people around him, or, you know, is it the White House? How far does that circle go of people that are there either protecting him or working against him? It's, you know, that sounds like a fucking nasty place to be. You know, knowing the things that you're going to hear, you might, somebody might say, and you're like, oh, now I have to make moral fucking decisions every goddamn day about what I say and do and don't do. You know,
Yeah.
That's kind of, I would think that's a hard row to hoe right there. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll have to, like I said, I'm looking forward to this impeachment process. That'll be a nice little shit show to distract us from, you know, Iran and other, you know, unimportant things going on. It'll be a lot of fun.
Um,
Can't wait.
yeah, it's. I I will say this: if if any actual corruption is exposed in regard to Donald Trump, it is going to obliterate so many people in Washington because the corruption will unfold. I mean, many heads would roll in this.
I hope so.
Because to keep this covered up would take this would take a big kind of net there in the White House. I mean, there would have to be lots of people. I mean, I would immediately expect that the Attorney General would fall under the axe very quickly.
Midget B says Iran state media reports that their navy intercepted a massive drug shipment hidden on an oil tanker. We don't talk about that. Orange Man Bad and Orange Man Impeach.
Did they tell you that
nothing to see there?
Did they report? Did they happen to report that it was one of their own oil rigs?
Nothing to see there, Robert.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Right. Orange Man Bad and Orange Man Racist and
ObfusGate.
Right.
ObfusGate.
That's right.
So then there's nothing that can distract from this then, is there? Like, he can't, you know, he could move forward with aggression towards Iran, and I don't think it would be big enough to distract from this now.
No, and I think honestly they would probably use that against him during the impeachment proceedings. So, yeah. No, right. I mean he's pretty much, you know, not in a corner, but he's you know, he's oh, see you later, Midget B. But no, I mean he pretty much can't back out of that. There's not much you can do to distract. I mean, unless something major happens.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's where we'll go on this. I'll put it out there, and we can take a poll. We'll put it out there in Discord after the fact. Anything we want. I want to ask this, John. Would you be willing to make a bet that this pans out to the point that the Democrats don't go past the inquiry into impeachment, that they pull the plug on it at the end of the inquiry?
Well, I think the vote to like the articles of impeachment are going to make it to the Senate, but not get past it, because it is a Republican-controlled Senate. So I think it's...
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I think it's going to be very difficult for it to get past there. I think it'll get through the House, though. In fact, I saw something earlier. I don't know how accurate it is, but there was something like almost every Democrat had voted yes on impeachment, and then some Republicans did, and then a bunch of them didn't. But it was more than 2/3, vote for yes.
Um,
So I think it's going to go through. There's still some other who hadn't voted yet, but
so you
I
think
think it's going to go through the House, but not. I think it's going to die in the Senate.
because the one out the one out that the Democrats have in pursuing this inquiry is that at the end of the inquiry, they can determine, okay, yes, let's put it to a House vote or not.
Right.
So they have that one exit to save face.
Right.
If this isn't going to pan out, if they don't have anything legitimate to hang on to, so that becomes the question. Do you think this will pretty much flatten out to where they have nothing to move forward to a House vote with, or they'll just go ahead and push on through and take the House vote and see what happens in the Senate?
Oh, I mean, they're all in. I mean, this is
You think
this
they
is
will
the
go?
hand they've been waiting for, and they pushed all in. If I can use the poker terminology,
Okay.
that's kind of what they're doing, and they can't afford to lose. Yeah, I don't know.
So then
I think they're going to try and push it all the way. Whether or not it makes it remains to be seen. But they're not going to just. I don't think they're just going to back out now.
Okay, so then that moves to the next question then. How many Republicans in the Senate will see this as the opportunity to get the crazy sumbitch out, right? Like the ones that are like, oh my God, I can't believe, oh my God, I'm a Republican, I'm supporting this, I'm supporting this, I'm supporting this, but oh my God, I wish he wasn't president.
No, I mean that might be the case, but I can't see them voting for it.
You don't think you don't think there's enough Republicans with no confidence to get the 2/3 of Senate?
What their actual beliefs are and the way they're going to vote could be two completely different things, right? Because they have a career to think about, and then the next Republican president that gets in, they're going to remember you did not toe the party line. And it's really unfortunate that that's the case. It really should not be the case, but it is.
Well, but see that's
so and also all the other senators, the Republican senators around them, are going to remember that as well.
But see, the beauty of it is
I'm not saying that it won't happen. I'm just saying I don't think a lot of them will. I think it'll be very few that vote
right.
Yes.
But from a strategic standpoint, it's in their favor because they have Mike Pence, to cover till the next president comes into office.
Oh no, they're going to impeach him too.
But no, he didn't do nothing. He didn't do anything.
Trending hashtag on Twitter now. Hashtag impeach Trump Pence Barr. Says J. Edgar.
See, my chat stopped again.
Oh yeah, Midget B left us. He said phone is dying, gotta go later.
I saw it. No. The last one I have is the 20-year-old comment from J. Edgar.
Oh yeah, that was the last one. Except for now he says see above, which right is what I said. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. All right, so then it didn't freeze. It's just I thought it did. I thought you were reading something.
They had to impeach their way down to Pelosi, and then they could stop.
Well, when it's I don't know. They've got Pence would cover for Trump. He would take over office unless he did something corrupt too. But I mean, is he really smart enough to have done anything corrupt?
He's been around for a while, so
at best he's guilt by association, if anything.
Right. But even so, let's keep this. Even if Pence makes it all the way through the rest of the term, right? Let's assume that Trump is removed from office and Pence makes it through the rest of the term. He's not going to beat any of those Democratic candidates that are on the stage.
They don't have to. They don't. But the beauty of it is because he's the vice president stepping in, they don't have to view him as an incumbent and give him the nod. They can pick any new Republican that they want and find somebody that will toe the shit out of that party line and keep their finger off the fucking tweet button. I mean, how do you not see this as an opportunity if you're sitting in the Senate and always been kind of, gun shy of everything Trump's doing? If you don't have confidence in the man, this is your opportunity to put a player in at 2020 that will serve the Republican Party in the right way,
Dude.
knowing what what you're coming after.
Yeah, dude. Walsh 2020 says J. Edgar. I'm totally down.
Is Walsh a libertarian?
No, not
Independent?
technically.
What
Not
is he?
technically.
What party does he?
I'm pretty sure he's a Republican. J. Edgar will correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's a Republican. But he's got very much libertarian leanings. If I'm being correct, he's also a decent guitar player.
Has he got the balls to handle this Washington
Definitely.
this Washington's crap that he's going to be handed? I mean, can he handle that kind of shit pile? Washington is fucked right now.
Corporate neocon, warmongering, cox. Okay, so I was wrong. He's not libertarian leaning.
Wow, is that in the chat?
Yeah, Jagger just said that
Oh.
he's not an ordinary average guy.
So
Just your everyday ordinary.
oh damn it! I'm in top chat, not live chat. You lying!
Ordinary
I keep forgetting. I
everyday
reloaded and I didn't fix that. There we go. There. Oh, it's good to see things back.
God, you were having chat issues tonight.
I know. I don't know what it is. I think I don't know. I think it's the Ukraine.
Probably.
Meddling with
Probably
my
the
computer.
Russians.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So,
in our show.
So John, that's ObfusGate. That's all the major shit that's going on. I don't know, man. Yeah, they're going to go after him. I don't know. I think they'll pull out right at the last of the inquiry if they can't get their hands on something concrete. Unless they get enough to put the man to question, and I think that's really what they want to do. I think you've kind of said it before. That's their opportunity that he'll hopefully give himself enough rope to hang himself.
Yeah. I mean,
because they're going to pull Giuliani in too. Oh,
yeah. I mean, they'll give him the rope, and it's up to him if he hangs himself or not.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody knows he doesn't do well shooting from the hip, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's something he would prepare for. He would have prepared statements for questions that he knows are coming. There probably would be some questions that he didn't, realize, but he'll have some kind of.
Yeah,
I think he'll have something.
But he can foobar some off the cuff shit, get his tang tangled and say something that indicates one thing, meaning something else. Like he does that a lot, right? It has to go back and re-explain what he was saying.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
Walsh will kneel down and deep throat the Jesus, destroy Islam, endless wars, corporate neocon, Halliburton machine, all the way to his stomach.
Damn, Ed, why don't you tell us how you really feel? Don't hold it back.
Ed, this is a family show.
I think you're being way too subtle, Ed. We don't know what you mean.
Right? I think he was watching.
Do you like him? Do you not like him? I can't tell. I don't.
I think he's been watching something he recorded on his headboard. Anyway, so John, I really don't have a lot more to say about this other than I'm not taking a side in this. I don't have a Democratic or Republican leanings on my opinion in this. I want to know. I have some questions about it since you're going to put it out there, and okay, well, I like transparency. So
yeah.
Here it is. Here's an issue. You've put it in front of me. Okay, well, yeah, I'd like some answers to some questions. I knew the Democrats would eventually try and impeach the son of a bitch if they got something. So here's something that's given them the impetus. So now we'll finally get, maybe get to the point where the man sits down at the table in front of a microphone. All right. Now will everybody be happy?
Yeah,
I don't know.
They won't be.
But I'll wait and see how it pans out. There's too much media on this to say anything is real and fact. I mean, it's hard to nail down a motherfucking fact in this, and it's going to be
Yeah.
twice as hard to get a credible witness, because 90% of the other side is going to point at that witness and talk about how not credible they are. It's going to be so much fun, but then again, not. Anyway, I say, John, you and I should focus our efforts on preventing a war in Iran, and seeing what we can do about this immigration issue. See if we can get some of that resolved. I say if we can, get some hardcore, some good hardcore ideas written down on how we can move the process forward and balance it out for everybody. We should be able to submit that to Washington and get them going on something. So we should, crack a book on that, and then maybe focus on the immigration from the north, because Canada's getting a little sketchy these days. So Trudeau's just too pretty. I don't trust him. I don't trust him.
Yeah.
Why don't we do that? Since the rest of the country is not going to be focused on handling these real issues in front of us, you and I should do that, John.
We should.
I think we should get Ed involved, simply because, this is going to take some government maneuvering, and we know he's a fan of making the government do their work.
Yeah, he's a huge fan of government. He wants it to get much, much bigger than it is, so there can be a lot more of it. He's a huge fan of bureaucracy and, just government oversight. So we should definitely do that.
Well, so just FYI, my news app just gave me, popped up a time notification that it normally does at 10 p.m. 3 news headlines is what it normally encompasses in this notification. John, not a single one of them had anything to do with any of this issue, ObfusGate.
Really? What are
Nothing.
they? Do you want to read them out for us?
What were they? The only 2 countries are meeting their climate pledges. Here's how the 10 worst could improve. The third quarter was a dud for stocks, but the fourth quarter could be full of surprises.
Ooh.
Well, that's not ambiguous, is it? And the third one, I struggled to make money working for myself until a 12-year-old book helped me overcome my mental blocks and start earning 6 figures.
Oh God, that sounds like one of those, like, you can make $3,500 to $5,000 from home.
It's actually
it's trick.
Yeah, it's in It's Business Insider article. So
web designers hate him.
It's the name of the book that the person is referencing is a book by Barbara Stanny from 2007 called Overcoming Under Earning. I'm like, okay, whoa, so this money must have changed your life. Or this book, right? No, it's just a Business Insider. They talk to entrepreneurs and stuff, and, so flashy headlines. But yeah, 3 headlines, not a single one about Donald Trump, Ukraine, Joe Biden, whistleblower, nothing. So I find that kind of interesting. We could do that. That's scary. The last thing I saw on this was Trump's special envoy to Ukraine steps down after release of whistleblower complaint.
Fun.
Why? Why would you step down?
Yeah, it makes you look guilty.
That's right. Why do people scatter? And we should look. That's what we should look into, John. Is there a consistent pattern of people scattering and losing their job when these little scandals hit, and why?
Yeah.
Kasich took the cock out of his mouth long enough.
The
Coke cock out of his mouth long enough to say no one in Ohio was talking about the impeachment. Oh, you know what?
That's nice.
I don't like him at all. Anyway, when I saw him,
he was very popular in Ohio. He's like everyone.
When I saw him the first time on the 2016 campaign debates, the very first time I saw him, I looked at him and I said, that guy I don't even like him just looking at him. Now,
Right.
Ed, holy crap, I'm fired up tonight. Are you fired up or filled up? What's your
Yeah. I think you got a little something to take care of after this stream
what's
there,
your
Ed.
BAL, sir? Your BAL. Um,
Yeah.
but anyways, John, I'm going to get us the hell out
What?
of here. So
Oh shit.
yeah, I'm done talking about all of this because
Good.
I mean, we could talk about this all day long and it would still be the same conversation because nobody knows anything and there may not be anything to know. You
Yeah.
know, but what they do know, I don't know. John, there are a couple of things coming up in the near future. Could you please illuminate the listening audience out there as to what that's going to be, please?
All right. Before I do that, I want to address
No,
J. Edgar there in the
we
chat.
don't
No, because
like
he's
it.
making a good point. We didn't talk about Greta. Um, I don't
Greta.
really want to talk
Oh,
about Greta Thunberg. I don't really want to talk about her necessarily. Just because I don't want to engage in the whole we're gonna go after some autistic 16-year-old girl. I mean, other people don't have that problem. I have a problem with it. So I don't really want to go after her. I do want to say that I don't think it's right that she's being puppeted by her parents and other activists. I think that's really really wrong. But that's really all I have to say on the matter. Is that it's wrong what's being done to her, and that's it. And so, with that said, moving on to announcements. Um, said Halloween night, we have our 3 hour live stream for St. Jude's charity. Um, we're gonna be doing some spooky stuff, maybe like a Ouija board, some EVP kind of stuff. So that'll be fun. Check that out. We have some spooky stuff planned. And then Friday, December 6th, we have our 12-hour live stream for Toys for Tots. So we can raise some money for some, needy kids who might not otherwise get any toys and for Christmas. And also, check out our brand new merch store on freedomscoop.com where you can buy the Generational Gap t-shirts. And we have a lot more stuff coming up soon. But for now, just go down in the description and you'll see the Freedom Scoop link underneath our Twitter and our Discord server link, which you should hit those as well. Come hang out with us on Discord and follow us on Twitter. And yeah, that's about it. Also,
phew.
there's a promotional code down there. You can get 15% off of our shirts, which is pretty awesome.
Yep, you go to Freedom
Giving them
Scoop
away.
and follow that link to our T-shirt, and in your cart throw in Gen Gap. You'll see it down there in the description. 15% off your T-shirt purchase. Please go ahead and do so. These T-shirts are being sold and going to feed hungry
Podcasters.
Florida migrant podcasters.
So, this whiskey, it comes with a price.
I mean,
And
technically, we both migrated to Florida at some point, didn't we?
it's true.
Yeah.
Just for the price of 2 t-shirts, I can get another bottle of this whiskey.
Jesus.
Please, I'm begging you. Please do it.
All right, so we're going to get the hell out of here. Folks, if you like what you've been
Let's do
hearing,
it.
hit the like button. If you have not done it already, please hit the subscribe button for all you new listeners and viewers out there. Thank you very much for joining us. And, John, it's been a real pleasure talking about Orange Man Bad.
Yes.
I'm glad we were able to do this without coming to blows on this. You weren't nearly as apathetic as I thought you might be.
I am pretty apathetic, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so we're going to get the hell out of here. Folks, look for us again on Monday night at 9 o'clock. It's when we do our Shooting the Shit episode. And for you out there, Ed, just bear in mind, we may mention Greta on Monday night because just between you and me, I kind of wanted to talk about her a little bit too. But anyway.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she should get an honorable mention.
It's topical. It's topical. It's fine.
Yeah. So then next week we'll be back once again for our regular episode on Friday night at 8:30. So once again, as
That's right.
Sean said, hit us up on the Twitter, hit us up on the Discord, hit us up on Freedom Scoop. Look for everything you can Generational Gap because we're important and we know it. All right,
And you
John.
know it.
Have a good night, brother. Peace.
See you guys.